Good afternoon. On Wednesday morning, very early in the morning, 2 escapees from an Ohio correctional facility found their way into Henderson, Kentucky, and were engaged by local law enforcement, ended in a mild car crash. Both fled on foot. One was apprehended and one escaped. Since that time, I do want to say that I have been thoroughly impressed at the level of coordination and the level of outreach from various regional law enforcement agencies, including but not limited to our local EMA, Emergency Management, our Henderson Police Department, Sheriff's Office, U.S. Marshal of the state of Ohio, some folks from Jasper, and a number of other folks that our Chief of Police here in just a moment will go over. I do also want to point out that their efforts are really inspiring to me, the amount of teamwork that they have put into this put into this endeavor. They have gone above and beyond and exhausted every means at their disposal to search out the person who has eluded their pursuit to this point. Just want to turn this over to our Chief of Police and let him give you an update on where we are at with this current investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here. I want to bring you up to date with what we've done in the last 24 hours. I think at this point everyone knows how we got to where we're at in the incident that took place. So in the last 24 hours, we used FLIR, forward-looking infrared devices that are on helicopters. We used those through the night. Again, scouring the riverbanks, wooded areas, even coming up close to neighborhoods from the river. Last night, we went to 3 addresses in the city of Henderson. Those were based on tips that we received. We did not locate anyone at those addresses. I don't even have the addresses with me at this time, but I say that to let you know that we're looking into every call that we get in order to find Mr. Bradley Gillespie. We continue to neighborhood canvass. We stepped those efforts up yesterday on the area of North Elm Street and then over toward Sunset Lane. Today we began to push south along the river, residences in that area that may have security cameras or anything of that nature. We've also, at this time, when I left the command post, we have 5 boats in the water. We have been checking the riverbanks. We've been checking the islands that are south of Henderson. We have the fire department who are using sonar on their boats as they do a grid search in the area by the banks and in the Ohio River. We have Perry County Fire Department. We have Union County Fire Department with the Union County Sheriff's Department. We have the Henderson County Rescue Squad, and we also have Kentucky Fish and Wildlife right now on the boats. They are being assisted by the United States Marshal Service as they search up and down the banks. This has been a very large-scale event. It's been very labor-intensive. At this time, we're at about the 61-hour mark since this began for us. This is an estimation. I would estimate we have used over 1,600 man-hours. My estimation would be we've had over 40 law enforcement officers or federal agents or fire departments or emergency management agencies that have helped us with this. We've been going around the clock. We've utilized 3 helicopters from 2 different agencies. We've also used 4 canines from 4 different agencies. I'd like to take just a minute and mention some of the agencies that have helped us. I apologize, it's a long list, but we really appreciate the help. And I want everyone to know that. And if there's anyone that I miss, Sheriff, please remind me, because I want everyone to get credit for helping us, because it has been a very long 3 days. First and foremost, the Henderson Sheriff's Department. The sheriff's been right beside me during the whole time that we've been at the command post. The Henderson Fire Department's been a great partner with their boat and other search and rescue features. The Kentucky State Police, the Kentucky State Police Aviation Section sent us 2 helicopters the morning of, which I was very grateful for. The Kentucky State Police Drug Enforcement Special Investigations Section has sent detectives who've also helped with the search. Henderson Emergency Management, they've been right beside us the entire time, helping us with maps and locations and things of that nature. Perry Township Fire Department has been down twice with their boat and helped us with the water operations. Indiana Department of Conservation and Water Patrol has also helped us. The Sturgis Police Department provided a canine that helped. Jasper Police Department provided a bloodhound that come and helped for several hours. The United States Marshal Fugitive Task Force out of Ohio, where this originated, sent several U.S. Marshals that helped greatly. The manpower that they provided was very significant. As we spoke the first time I had an interview, we talked about the manpower. They really helped out with that. The Ohio State Police, the Highway Patrol, they sent 2 staff officers, a detective, and their special response team, who is also sworn U.S. Marshals on a task force. They sent them here who were here for 3 days. They left this morning. But the manpower and the teamwork, and for them to come down and help us see through the first few hours or the first few days of this was great.
Their aviation.
Yes, and their aviation, they brought a helicopter as well and ran missions throughout the days and nights. The United States Coast Guard, Union County Sheriff's Office, and Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. So it's a long list, and like I mentioned, it was a very large-scale incident. New information that we'd like to share with the public. We received information from the United States Marshal Service that helped us obtain a video of Mr. Gillespie and Mr. Lee. The video was them walking across a parking lot at Home Depot in the west side of Evansville. That video was able to give us a good description of exactly what they looked like approximately 6 hours before we had our pursuit. The sheriff's detective went over and obtained that video, and the sheriff has agreed to release that video to the media and to the public. At this point in time, we know exactly who we're after, and we want the public to help us. There's no reason to withhold at this point anything we have of that nature. So he was last seen wearing dark pants and a white shirt. Of course, now we're a few days into it. He could be wearing anything at this point. When you see that video, there will be something very significant that will stand out. Mr. Gillespie appears to be walking with a pronounced limp. It is our belief that he was injured during his escape in Ohio. So at this point, we discussed that. We wanted to push that out to the public to let everyone know. So we do think that he is injured at this time. Mr. Gillespie, just for everyone to know, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, bald head, possibly a light beard. I want the public, and I want to say this a few times before this is over, the public needs to be vigilant and needs to be safe. If you see anyone that you think fits that description, please call law enforcement. Do not approach him by yourself or anything of that nature. We do believe he is a dangerous individual. So I don't want anyone to overlook that fact just because we're 3 days into it. We will still be continuing our efforts. Our efforts will not stop. The Henderson Police Department, the Henderson Sheriff's Department, and the Kentucky State Police, we will not stop what we're doing. The U.S. Marshal Service that is assisting us out of Owensboro, this will not stop. This will go through the weekend. We will continue to work. We will be moving our command post from the Atkinson Park area. At this point in time, all of the help we received from the Fugitive Task Force and the Ohio State Police, they have went back to Ohio this morning. So there's no need for such a large area for us to amass. We will simply work out of the police department or work out of the sheriff's department, whichever one we determine. But we will, I want to reiterate, we will continue working this case just as we have. Once you get past 36 hours, there's certain things that you look for and you do. So we exhausted everything we could at the beginning of this. So we thank those folks for coming down and helping us do something we would have never got done on our own. I urge the public to continue to call in tips if you see anything that resembles that, anything out of place. At this point in time, I believe we've had at least 96 tips called in to the police department or to dispatch. We appreciate that. We look into every one of these tips, no matter what the nature of where it's at. We will look into that tip. On that note, I'd like to also mention that the city has approved me to offer an additional $10,000 reward on top of the U.S. Marshal's $20,000 reward. That is, to be clear, that must be specific information that leads to the arrest of Bradley Gillespie. But if you give us information and it is certified and it leads to his arrest, we will add $10,000 without question to the top of already what the reward is. Again, I'd like to say, at this point in time, very disappointed that Mr. Gillespie is not in custody. But I can sure tell you and the citizens of Henderson and Henderson County, it is not from a lack of trying. We've been out there hitting it, and we're going to continue to hit it. Our number one focus, our number one goal is to bring this man to justice, and we're going to continue doing that. We've spoke, I've had U.S. Marshals that this is all they do for a living, is they search for people. And there's a myriad of things that could have took place or places where he could be. And the fact of the matter is, we have no evidence to believe he has left Henderson. So with that being said, I want everyone to remain vigilant and check on your neighbors, check on folks that may live out on their own. Call your family, call people. It's a group and a community effort. And I just want the public to know that we welcome any information they have. It will be received well, and we will take action with that. Sheriff, do you have anything?
No.
That's all I was prepared to talk about today, was the efforts we were doing. I'm sure you have questions for the sheriff or the mayor or for me. I'll answer what I can, and if I can, I'll just tell you I can't answer it.
Chief, obviously this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people are going to be out in public. A lot of boats are going to be on the water as well. Is there any efforts of, maybe ramping up patrols? I obviously know that with high travel, you already probably ramp up patrol, but is there anything that's going to be more focused towards, obviously, this manhunt?
Well, it is Memorial Day weekend, and I want the citizens of Henderson to enjoy the holiday and have fun. I just want them to be safe and be vigilant. Like I said, we've got 5 boats on the water right now, so we are searching every inch of that river from top to bottom to where we think that a person could be or could have been. So I would just say, if you're on the river and you see something out of place, give us a call, something we've overlooked or anything. But absolutely, we will have a presence more so than what we normally would.
Something that came up today, we heard that between the time of the last head count where Gillespie was accounted for, and then by the time the jail had noticed that he was missing, it was 7 head counts. Could you elaborate possibly on we've heard 2, we've heard 7. Is there an exact number that you've heard from the jail of how many head counts he was missed at?
No, I can't confirm. I cannot confirm that from, we didn't have much discussions about that with the Ohio officials that were here.
And
when people are out boating this weekend, if they do encounter a police or fire department boat, is there any specific thing that they should keep in mind, keep a certain distance?
If you was to see one of our boats, we have lights on them, so obviously it would be just like if it was a vehicle, we'll have our emergency lights on. If you see one or so just patrolling, not a big deal, but if you was to see 2 or 3 in one place, see people on the bank where it looks like there might be an actual incident or operation going on, I would just say avoid them, give them some space and respect what they're doing.
Something as well, you mentioned 3 homes you were called to tips for. I know you mentioned you probably don't have the addresses on you. Were there any signs of any forced entry into those homes where, you know, you were going to clear?
There was not.
With the video at the west side Home Depot that you mentioned, is there any indication that this might have been a little bit of a prolonged stay, or do we know how long they were in the area prior to going to that Home Depot?
I don't think I can really, I can't really confirm how long they were there. There is a time limit from what we've estimated as far as drive time, but I don't have anything really affirmative in that area. Back to what you said when you mentioned the buildings. We have searched numerous buildings, structures, abandoned houses, anything of that nature. And in the searches, they're very manpower intensive. You need to send a number of people in there, but we have really cleared a lot of those. So, but if people have that, they can give us a call.
Is there any developments in Lee or Gillespie, their ties to Henderson, if they're there?
No developments at all, and really none that I'm aware of.
I know the last time we spoke to you, I think it was like Wednesday, well, I spoke to you, it was Wednesday. You said you guys did question James Lee. Is he still in the Henderson County Jail right now, or has he been re-questioned, I guess?
To my knowledge, he's still in the jail. Since they're fugitives from Ohio, any of that questioning was done by the U.S. Marshal Service. We let them handle that part of it. So can't really comment on how that went.
I know there's a lot of different possibilities and angles that you're looking at, possibility of hiding out or in a home, maybe left the area too, but with the sonar searches today, I know that's just part of it too, but as more time goes on, is there any belief or assumption that the longer that he's not spotted, that, you know, it could be a situation where maybe he is deceased or could be in the river, anything like that, that raises possibility?
Well, we can't really discount anything. So a lot of things we do just to rule that out. But the Ohio River is right close to where this all took place. So we have to thoroughly search the river. And we'll see. Only time will tell where he's at. I believe he'll turn up. I believe something will break in the case. These things take a long time. As I was talking to the marshals that do this for a living, they say, hey, sometimes you do all you can do, and then you have to sit and wait wait for that call, wait for that sighting, wait for something to happen. So we're going to keep patrolling our neighborhood, and we hope that we get that call.
You obviously did some neighborhood canvassing the past day. Was there anything positive that came out of those neighborhood canvasses, or anything that maybe gave you an extra lead into where his whereabouts could be?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough to comment about that at this time.
And then I think I have a question from the mayor. I don't know if you want to.
Sure.
Just in regards to Memorial Day weekend, are there any city events that will be canceled or any put aside, postponed because of this?
No, actually, all city events that are currently scheduled will be held on schedule. I just want to remind our citizens and reiterate what our chief said earlier, is that continue doing the things as it pertains to community law enforcement that we should always be doing anyway. Lock our doors, lock our car doors, lock our windows, check on your neighbors and check on your loved ones. Call them, make sure they're okay. If we do that as a community, I am confident that with the efforts that our police department, that our sheriff's department, Kentucky State Police, our emergency management, all the other people who are here, I am confident that they will do everything in their power to keep us safe, and that everything in their power is quite a lot. Just to see the efforts that these people who protect and serve our community go through to keep us safe, it's quite impressive, the dedication that they have to their jobs.
Ma'am, just to touch on that question you had, we've had the park closed, and I'd mentioned we're going to open the park back up. Atkinson Park, swimming pool, all the ballparks, all that at 6 p.m. tonight will be open completely up for the public.
Could you clarify the timing again of the Home Depot surveillance video catching them on surveillance?
Yes, Home Depot, the video was around 9:50 p.m. The night before we had our encounter.
And did they purchase anything that you know of? Did they walk
Yeah.
in the store with anything?
Unaware at this time. If that's all you have, thank you all so much. I truly hope to speak to you in the near future and bring good news that we found him. And I can promise you and the citizens, we're going to do everything we can to make that happen. Thank you all.